Joy Wanjiru Machugu ZENZ is the founder of African Women in Europe, AWE, the CEO of African Women in Trade, AWT, and chairlady of AWE Diaspora, SACO, project leader of African Women's Day Awareness Network. She received several awards: Excellence in Leadership, Global Africa Award 2021 South Africa, winner of 2018 African Business Support Award, the Voice Awards Amsterdam, and African Diaspora Living Legend in Germany. Ladies and gentlemen, make welcome to GPAD 2022, Joy ZENZ.
Yes, thank you so much. And for the introduction, yes, I'm in Germany as well, very south of Germany. And I'm so excited to be here because I think, as I said, the whole event of today and yesterday, I've been following up. And of course, we need to put women in the picture. And that's where I come in, as well as a diaspora living here in Germany over 20 years. And I'm very proud to say that we have managed to bring over 6,000 women all over Europe, not only in Germany, and we have been communicating for some time now. So if I'm allowed to share my screen, I'll be happy to share what we do as Africa Women in Trade. And being an organization that was formed under Diaspora initiative after we met so many years and decided we need to start. Okay, yes, I would need a request to share my screen. Yes, thanks. And so the whole idea was to how can we go back to the continent and support. So the Africa Women in Trade is one of our projects that we wanted to go back in the continent as a whole. But we also have another work project that's specifically for Kenya. That is the AWE Diaspora SACO. This is a credit and saving cooperative where we diaspora send money in as remittance and support entrepreneurs who are part of the members of the AW Diaspora SACO. So that's another project I'm happy to explain to you more. But today I want to talk about the impact we do as women in trade. That is something that we are passionate of. Personally, I'm very passionate about this project because it's how we can support the continent economical development. And this is the best way to do it if we really go into supporting the continent the right way. As you said, we want to go trade and not aid. So Africa Women in Trade, as you can see, was formed by organizations of African women in Europe wanting to go back to support the continent. And our story is very beautiful. As you can hear, we meet quite regularly here, and then we support each other, but we can move back to the continent and even support more in the remittance that we said. So this is one of them, of our story, as I mentioned earlier. And our vision basically is to create a platform to connect and enable women and youth to trade under AfCFTA, Africa Continental Free Trade Area. We had a lot about this yesterday, and it's something that we need to really be part of, or we're marketing for one market in Africa, especially in the value-added product when it comes to Europe marketing. So we are very focused on very particular driven by our mission of 4 particular pillars, which I want to go straight to. And and we know very well that even before getting to do any business in the continent, we need to build relationship and values. So we are very driven, very focused with our trust and building relationship, respect, and collaboration. Knowing that I've been in Europe for over 20 years and going back to the continent, knowing I'm not going to Kenya, where I know I would really need to also respect also the cultures and values of businesses in those areas. So our main pillars that we really focus on is 4 pillars, and these pillars I can really affirm that this didn't come from a diaspora mindset, because we have to go back to the continent and see what are the issues, design thinking before we come up with solutions. So for us, we went through our statistics with our members where they filled information, and they told us the 4 things are the pillar that they really need support. And the main one that I'm sorry about that is going backward. The main ones, as I mentioned, is the information. There's quite a lack of information in the continent, and they wanted to know more information, where to get, and also good information, not fake information. So we've been seeing that quite a lot. So here as African Women in Trade, we support that a lot. Market access is one of the biggest one, and something that I'm passionate to say, we are really supporting market access to support the women to access markets in national, regional, and globally, not forgetting cross borders as well, which is very important as we grow. So the grant and investments, I have to say, we have also seen great grants coming here in Germany from GIZ. There's one program called VDO Project, which I'll mention much earlier. Some of the diaspora African women in Europe who benefited from it, including myself, where we started businesses back in Kenya, and I think it's in Cameroon and a few other countries as well, which is ever growing. And this project is still going on, called VDO Project. I'll mention to it later. And of course, we cannot forget that capacity building is very important in terms of training the women to reach to their goals in terms of market access. Is it in terms of grants? Is it in terms of really connecting with each other? There's quite a lot of support on that, on the ground. So we operate digitally, something that is very important. We connect with our people on our social platform. So our objectives, as you can see there, they're quite clear there, as I mentioned. And the most important one I want to mention here among this is the SDGs, that we're going to be creating jobs, eradicating poverty, and improving Africa economy. This is the most important one among all these objectives, because we believe when we start trading among each other in the continent and feeding ourselves and creating jobs through entrepreneurship, there's quite a lot of support will go even into the Africa economies. So we focus basically different sectors. As you can see there, export, import, agriculture is the main one at the moment that we focus, construction and manufacturing industry, technology, we can't forget about them, of course, and financial institute, including the government, they're part of this because they support quite a lot, especially when it's scaling up and starting businesses. And on our first year, just to give you an overview, which we are now going 2 years at the end of of December, we have mobilized over 4,000 women in youth in trade under AFCFTA, and also built a networking platform for over 30 registered members, and we have shared over 300 registered members. And then we have also shared AFCFTA information intensively all over social media and even daily news, and also in platforms like this one to make it awareness and the energy that it needs to get started. We know it's a long way to go, but we are also there. I also mentioned about the relationship that we have built with some of the government's initiatives like the GIZ with the businesses. We have given grants to some of them, and also invest in some of the businesses. As diaspora, we are also investing in these SMEs as well. And also we can see that we have also certified 7 AWT country representatives that we will be mentioning much later, and hosted 15 successful virtual, even much more now because this was 1 year, and we are even growing much and more building. So something that we also want to also do that I always mention is market access, and especially in global markets, we are supporting several products. One of them, as you can see, 2 of these, actually there are 4, or they are ready for markets. We believe if flowers come to Europe every day, roasted coffee should be here as well, as early as and fast as the flowers do. So I don't think we should be underestimating value-added products. This coffee is here in Germany, and we are trying to get it into the market. There's a lot of work to do on that in terms of certification. We're still working on it. But the tea you see on your right side is ready for the market. It's from Nigeria, ready packed and produced, and it's very organic in the continent in Nigeria, and ready for the market. It has all the certificates. So we're also looking for markets. If you're one of them here, you're ready to reach out to us. We can connect with you with the women businesses. They're ready to produce, a manufacturing company, so they're ready to produce in quantities that you would need. And as well, other things that are not only the the agribusiness. We also go in health. We have a member who have a manufacturing company for menstruation cups, as you can see on the left, from South Africa. These are all manufacturing companies and ready to enter any markets. We are also not only focusing on Europe. I have to say, like the tea I mentioned earlier is also in South Africa as well, and now going to Kenya. And as you can see, we're also connecting with the organizations in Kenya as well. ePepel Supermarket, knowing is a tech hub in Kenya and Nigeria. And this way we can be able to move things from one step to another one. And as I mentioned earlier, this is the VIDU project. You can see VIDU that was in between the Africa Women in Europe and Africa Women in Trade, where we have already 20 organizations that have benefited on that. And we are very happy to see that happening quite well. So we work with a big team, as you can see there. The team is growing. And also we are going to be focusing next year more with the 8 countries that have put in the pilot for the AFCFTA. So more countries will be added here, and we have actually added this year after one of the events. Namibia will be joining us as well, and we are looking forward to growing this platform more and more. And we partner with already a lot of organizations. As you can see there, we have Jumia, which you have never known. It's a logistic solution company on the ground, and also with SADC and COMESA and Rigo Africa, which is also in Africa, and of course the African market in Europe platform. And our biggest one is the AFCFTA, which we really follow their way of working and seeing how we can come in as diaspora to support the continent. So this is the last event that happened 3 weeks ago, probably in Cape Town. That was this month, and we're very happy to have been there to support women to B2B matchmaking. And you can see there we were already visited by His Excellency Wamkele Mene, who came to really support the women. And all these women products are ready for cross borders, regional, and some of them for international markets. So we are very excited about that. And this is one of the products I was mentioning to you about the tea that is ready to come to Europe. And also for the menstruation cups, we also have them as well here, as you can see. So we are very excited about this movement. This was our case study, seeing how we can support, and we're very happy to say that we are happy to connect with anybody in Germany, of course, ready for helping our women to go to market access, and because we believe that's the way to go for the future. And I want to thank you for having us here today and sharing with you our stories, because through stories we are able to connect much faster and move things forward. So thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you.
Back to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ruth. And I hope you're going to stay with us for a while. I'll just check if sorry, Joy, I hope you're going to stay with us for a while. I'll just check if Ruth has joined. Do we have Ruth online? Okay, so Ruth has not joined. I'll just invite Sylvia now for a commentary on your presentation and what we've heard, and then take a few questions to enable us to discuss a little bit about women in trade and women in particular. So, Sylvia, just your comment.
Okay, thank you, Joy, very much for your wonderful and very inspiring presentation. And I'm so proud because I'm from Kenya. And I've been working with women for quite a while, and I was so much impressed about what's going on. And I'm also so much impressed about what a lot of women do not know. So that is something we have to work on. And what I've been doing here in Germany, especially in Baden-Württemberg, where I come from, the southern part, is trying to educate women on how to do business, which is missing a lot. and how we can also be able to have this partnership, joint trade, while working in Germany, but still working back home to countries of origin, and also creating work and employment for our own people. So that is something I really loved about your presentations, which we are also working on. And my question, first of all, to you would be like, how can we educate women here in Germany as well as home? So when it comes to partnering, there is not the issue of that we are at the same level when it comes to trading. And also, how can we help women to create jobs while they're doing their business, and give them the motivation of creating business and daring to do business? Because I think when I think about employment in Germany, there's a lot of human resources which are not being used. And we can do something with these women. So what I've been trying the last year is to do a project in training women, first of all, to be speakers and to be able to teach, to tell the stories and also change the narrative, because if they change the narrative, then they can be able to, pursue their dreams and be able to create spaces for themselves where they can be able to to learn, also to lead. And this is also about female leadership. So that is something which we can also work on when we are teaching women. And what I like mostly is, how do you do business? This is what we have to teach women. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I love that question, because as you can hear, I'm here. That's why, first of all, we're in the same region, but in Württemberg, I'm more in Freiburg. And that's how we all started here connecting with each other here in Germany and also in Europe, because we focus more in Europe, because I think Germany, we have a long way to catch up with other like UK and the US, but we pull each other up in terms of bringing each other together. And what we've seen is that the women here in Germany are doing amazing work, and we do have awards happening here in Europe. We just finished around 6 events in Germany. It was one of them, and then UK, Holland, and Switzerland, where we brought a lot of women together and showcased their work. What we see is that there are women doing. We have women doing roasters. They have roasters here, and especially Kenyans. That we are very dynamic, as well as also Cameroonian and also Nigerian. We cannot underestimate that. But they're getting into the entrepreneurship. We also have women who even have hotels here in Germany, selling African products and food and what I talk about, this is like wines from Africa, teas and coffees, and all this is already happening in the country. And I cannot explain. Also one lady who does also manufacturing in Stuttgart, who's doing hot pot sauces. If you have never heard of it, you can Google it. They are in Rewe supermarkets, and she sells a lot of products in terms of the sauces that we eat every other day, putting it in the glass and using a very, very technology that we want to also exchange that technology back in home. Food consumption, as you know, there's a lot of food wastage in the continent. So what we've seen is that there are already people here. We already have the skills. We are now bringing all the skills together in the combination of Africa women in Europe and Africa women in trade, and then they will be coming. Of course, there's a lot of trainings on both sides, because as you said, like one product, if you bring into the communication is quite different, especially if some of us, we forget when we stay here in diaspora, we have stayed so long, we have lost the contact with the way things work back at home. So there will be conflict of communications that I see that also on my side, but I'm go with awareness that, of course, I'm not coming less. And that's why I call diaspora a very important role who we are. We are actually a bridge between the both. And I always say we have the best model of doing business, because we know both sides very well. We have stayed here very long as well, and also know our community. We have never lost contact with our community and the culture as well, and they're doing business, and we can bridge together. Because what we see is a lot of people call African businesses emerging businesses and very high risk businesses, but we are doing business. I have members who even have farms, and they do farming when they're here in the diaspora with all the technology we have right now. As you know, Kenya, we have WhatsApp, we have M-Pesa payment. I pay my own admin assistant who is in Kenya, and she pays her farmers, and some of them even do hotel industry, checking the rooms if they are ready for the guests with WhatsApp. And the technology now has really moved. We have to all go digital, and I'm very happy to say the continent, as much as we think, is very advanced in technology, much more than even here in Europe. I have to admit they are very advanced, quick to adapt, although they have, of course, the problems of internet and the issue of electricity. But whenever they get it, they grab it and run with it. And I have to say, Africa is ready. Diaspora, we are ready. Are the Germans and the Europe Committee ready to accept Africa to really stand on its own? That's the question. That's the question. Back to you.
Thank you. Just to put it into context, that Sylvia also heads an organization, Simama, Steh auf, Stand Up. So within this frame is what she was talking about with the capacity building she's been doing, with connecting women digitally and young women in particular in terms of capacity building, which you mentioned. Perhaps we have a question that if you could elaborate a little bit on VDO, and then we'll take a question from Victor, an audience member. Dr. Victor is here too, who has a question. Perhaps would you like to tackle the two issues at once, or you will tackle the VDO one
I
first?
can tackle both. I can tackle both.
Okay. Okay, so Victor, go ahead.
Okay, good day, everyone. Good day, Ma. I'm Dr. Victor Aladesami. Thank you for your presentation, excellent and good. I have this question. Putting that forward, there was this information, it's in Guardian, it's online, it's in the last 2 years, Bill Gates is the biggest private owner of farmland in the United States. That's been happening the last 2-3 years. Suddenly became the biggest farm owners, taking it from different independent locals and entrepreneurs. Also, in the last 2-3 years, some mysterious locals appeared in South African farms, frustrating productions, and investors in that part of the business see a great threat. My question to you is this. I see your business model, I see your visions, your plan, putting women in trade. There is a projection of drought in the next few years that will happen, and anybody in this arena of business, how do you sustain? I'm asking concerning sustainability of your business and what you do and your vision. How did you sustain this over 6,000 women you've been helping the last 20 years? Still empowered in the next 10 years with the future projection of how the economy will go. So I want to see the potential and how your business will still be viable. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'll start with his because it's quite interesting. And sorry, I forgot the name of the gentleman. So what you're saying is sustainability is a key role and something that we all need to really put in any project that we do. And as African women in trade, and especially we African women in Europe, it's a very designed with design thinking. And I keep saying this quite a lot, design thinking. We have to go down on the ground and ask, what are the issues at the moment? There are everything that is going around. We have the environmental changes, but each country and each community, especially where we all come from, we have our own issues that we can start from the community where we are. Right now, I'm also traveling to Kenya, actually, as we speak tomorrow, and I'll be going to my own village where they produce a lot of avocados. How I left it, I don't know how the state it will be. So when I go there, I'll have to observe and see the situation and really work on how can we move to the next level. And being here in the diaspora, we have a lot of information. We know what is going on. We know according to the statistics, it's going to be very hot in the continent. So how can we pivot our way of doing things? Of course, we cannot underestimate that the continent Africa is a very resilient continent. As you can see through COVID, we have been very resilient. It's also other diseases, and we have to pivot ourselves. Is it going to be solar because we have a lot of solar energy, solar in the country? How are we going to move? Is it irrigation? Is it what other method can we use to sustainability? As an organization ourselves, we have actually structured ourselves in a sustainability way. That's the only way to survive over 15 years in African women in Europe and African women in trade. We don't set our goals to stick. They adjust according to the environment and the changes of the needs of our members. So when we start an organization like ours, we start with a very basic, as you saw, 4 pillars. That's what they want right now. We have to restructure. Now we are restructuring again. That was for the 2 years. We have to restructure again for next year. Every time we have to restructure and adapt to the way the situation is on the ground and the needs. And that's why it's very important. We need to talk to our people on the ground, not only the governments, not only the what's going. We need to talk to our people. And as diaspora, we have very direct contact with our people on the ground. So we know the problem and we know the issues. And sometimes we have the solution, or we know where the solutions are. So I hope I've answered that in terms of anyone who is here wanting to go to Africa, really go to the ground. Don't bring the solutions here, there. You need to go there and find out what the issues are and come up with the solutions, because you have them in your mind somewhere and in your networks that you meet every other day, and you can be able to form that together and come with a structured organization, how to support the issues in your community. Start from your community, because that's where the issues are. Back to the video question. The video question is a very important concept there, but I lost a lot of, because I was so busy with my organization. But I'll give you the highlight, but I would really want you to talk to the right people. A video project is a GIZ project, and it's actually based here in Germany, but it's going to different countries. Kenya is one of them. Cameroon, I think, was put back again after some times. It was very, very connected. I know Nigeria is not yet, but was in the plan, and a few other countries as well in Africa that have been put, but I don't want to say this because I've lost the contact of the whole thing, because I was only focusing in Kenya. So in Kenya, the video project, when we started, there were 2 models. Right now is only one. One was called Video Corona, and one was Video Normal, which is a normal video that was initially there before COVID came. So the one, so I would only talk the one that is existing, is where the diaspora removed 50% and the GIZ support with the other 50%. So I'm going to give you the case scenario of what I did, because I don't share with anybody anything I have not tried myself, to see whether it's working. So we had, I had my parents at home who had a big shed of cows, but didn't have cows, but there was this need of putting cows into the shed. So I came up with, bought 1 cow, and then they would help me with the next extra cow. And the process was very interesting. So right now, as we speak, we have quite a lot of cows that have given birth, almost a lot of projects. And the project, around 4 of them, because Video Project was one of them, but now it's out. So you have 3 chances. Anybody who has a German citizenship can apply, not only for the diaspora, also your children, if they're over 18, they can apply, and each one of you have 3 chances to start a small businesses. These are small businesses like cows, chicken farming, which goes to, and if I understand right now, it goes up to 2,500. If you remove 2,500, you'll be updated 2,500. That's the highest amount in euro, but you can go as less as you can, but there's a structure model in it, very simple, www.vidu.africa. It's a very easy model. It's run digitally, so both sides have to communicate through emails, and the way it's structured is very simple for anyone to really start. So what I would ask you to go to the website, have a look at it, see their situation at the moment. They also have new project also for Green project that they started. I would encourage you to have a look at that. And I'm very happy to mention that if you want them to come and present to anyone here, you can always reach out to them on the GIZ. They're very happy to do that. But I had a very short working time with them, but we're still supporting them in terms of marketing the video project. I hope I've answered the question.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you very much, Joy. I'd just like to ask you and Sylvia, because you're women here, SDG 5, which advocates and pushes for gender equality, has 9 indicators and 14 targets, most of them on women and girls and empowering women and girls. You mentioned the Sustainable Development Goals and how you work to pivot and to push and to propagate their targets within Africa for women. I wonder now, what do women do for girls, who is, as we know, the girl child, a very left alone gender, a very left alone person, especially in the African situation. So your organization, Sylvia, and what she's doing, how have you done that? How do you forge that path forward?
Well, I will speak for myself, and then as I mentioned, is that Africa Women in Trade is for both women and youth. So we are supporting young generation as well, and I am very happy to say that one of the projects that last time I did in South Africa, we did work with the youth. Although I have to say, working with youth, as you know, millennials, they're very energetic, they're high risk energy. So working with women who are low risk, probably it will help you to navigate easier. But we are having project working with the youth. They're very energetic, very ambitious, but they need a lot of guidance in terms of reality, especially when it comes to financing. And this is what we are doing. So what we have done with the African Women in Trade is that we have come up with a program, because what we've realized, the youth are very educated. I always say Africa, we are over-educated. And I think Nigeria, you have hit the record, because a normal Nigerian has 2 or 3 degrees, right? And some of them are very young people. And also in Kenya, in every continent, we are very educated, very informed. But our women who are in the middle age, they're not advanced, especially when it comes to technology. And most of them are the ones who are in entrepreneurship. So we call them micro, small, medium enterprises. So what we've done is that we have encouraged the youth. We're going to come up with a program, which is still in the working plan, where the youth are going to help the women to help them to come from informal to formal, because most of them are in the informal. So what I mean is that having their ideas into the papers, having their projects in a profile or a structured way, in a simple way that we can, on the other side, as digital side, we can see creating for them website, PowerPoint presentation, and we come in to empower them to pitch their projects as well. But in this concept is where we say the women who are in business are going to pay the youth to do this work. And actually, that's how jobs are created. In the real sense, they will employ them to be a marketing, a communicator there. There will be a HR in there. These are youth, because the women cannot do everything when they're coming up with the businesses. But the idea, as I say, the mindset of our people is still white-collar job for the youth especially. We are also encouraging them to also venture into entrepreneurship, and by working together with their parents. And I can tell you, the Community of Africa, we don't do exchange with our children what we do at home, or we do businesses. Like here in Europe, if you're here in Europe, if you have ever gone to any restaurant, this waiter is the daughter or the in-law or somebody in the family. But in Africa, we don't really, we forgot that. We used to do it in the past, but what we do, we find our parents are doing businesses, the children have no idea what happened, and then we are losing generation wealth, because these businesses, when the parents are gone, they are losing it. So we're encouraging the parents to also work with their families in their businesses, so that we don't lose all this useful information, that once they're gone, the business can go on, and then we build generation wealth, which is a big issue in the continent. I hope I've answered that, so that Sylvia has a chance to also mention something.
And also what we try to do with the young ladies, especially, there are so many projects for our young girls who think the best thing to do with the girls is to let's say like show them how to paint their nails so they can go out and look beautiful. So we discovered with the years that so many projects have not they don't have the ambition and the issues of girls at hold. And time is money. So when they have projects running for our girls, I looked into some of these projects where whether it's all these people called Paritätisch, Jugendausschuss, just name them, they all have so many projects and they don't bring our kids anywhere anyway. So we started these projects 2 years ago, which we call Miss Me and Young and Smart for the Guys. So what we do is try and train, first of all, the girls while they are still in school in empowerment processes, where first of all, they learn their history according to Gogewa, decolonize your mind, first of all. So there is nothing which is handed out. So you have to work for it and you have to plan your life. So we teach them or train them, first of all, to have an idea what they want out of life. And then we can work on it. And there are no shortcuts to success. So they really have to plan. And we do this joint together with Africa. We have a partner organization called SHADE, Helping Hands in Kenya as well. So we try and share this knowledge we have, whether it's in IT or whether it's like now we are trying to get a project going for cosmetics and for pads. And here we are trying to get the young ladies into leadership and to pick up into the steps of the work we are doing, like, you know, in this Entwicklungszusammenarbeit. A lot of our children know nothing about it. So what we do as Imama is expose our youth to what we do and also share the platforms with them so that they can see what we do. So first of all, it's education, training in leadership, which is very important. And another line we are starting is, how do you plan a business? Because this is something very, very strange to our youth here in Germany. It was also very strange for me. And I started out as well to support my education with a small catering farm, which I did, and that sustained me. And I'm trying also to bring this idea to women, especially women who have not been able to find jobs in Germany, and they are fed up of cleaning houses, or they are fed up of cleaning kitchens from other people, but they can cook so well. So what we're trying to do is get these young women to plan their lives along their families and be able to start a small business with it. And I can help them with my catering because I have this still registered. And what they can do is I can supply all these utensils because I have them, and they can dare do a business. And they have to plan. And what I do with the women and the girls, they have to make a commitment. They have to make a commitment to themselves and to their dream, so that they can be able to say, short term, mid term, and long term, where do I want to be, less like in 1 year or 2 years, and where do I see myself in 10 years? And not just that, do I even dream of a legacy which I want to leave behind? And if at all, how would it look like? So that we can be able to create not just think about jobs, but think about wealth, and wealth we can pass on to the next generation, because we've been left out. And nobody has the issues of especially Black women in their agenda. So we don't belong to anybody's equation. So it's us also to teach our girls and our youth to take the line and to take the lead as well. That's why I'm so happy about what Timmy is doing about this Lead Academy. And this is a jump. And as you said, we have a lot of potential in Africa, in Kenya. I mean, our youth is educated. Our youth are no nonsense people. So creating businesses in the IT, and these kids are freaky. They really know how to handle this thing. And thank God we have a real good internet in Kenya. I mean, Germans can only dream about it. And this is something we are using. We are trying to use IT from from here and from there to find out how we can also create startups, which will also be able to generate jobs for the youth and for people in Kenya. And girls are so smart. I mean, we have a generation of girls, they are crazy when it comes to IT, and we are just trying to support them from this side so they can be able to create business from what they know.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you for that, Sylvia. Thank you for that, Joy. Joy, can you hear me? Okay. I have a question for you. I just want to thank everybody who's also joining us online. And Professor Okolo, thank you for your presence despite you being on the road, and all the best there. So a question to you, Joy, from Professor Okolo, who was there yesterday. And he asks, are there quality assurance organizations you're working with for the export of your food products? If yes, are they based in Africa? Do they leverage on any technologies for traceability of your export products? Did you capture the parts of the question?
Yeah,
Perfect.
yeah, traceability and it's all part of, and technology, yes, and it's all a part of certifications, right? And talking about that, there are already existing certifications, so especially when you're coming to do trade, especially in Europe markets. So as you know, there's the ISO, and which is a must on most of the products, and they are on the ground. They're certified regulators that they are on in most of the countries in Kenya. Basically, most of the country, they have representative there who go regulate before they are even given that certificate. And then you got the fair trade as well. That is also, actually, it's from here in Germany. And they are also on the ground certifying all this. Without all the certification, you cannot be able to bring the products here. So they are already, and you also have the GPAD, that is also a very important one, that very intense, so that goes all the way to seeing the chemicals and all the stuff that you use in the farm. All these are on the ground in the continent. They are registered organization, especially if you're talking about Europe, because once you enter Europe, you can, and we are coming up with a program that we are going to be training all this information. We have partnered with a lady in Holland, with our member. And as you know, Holland is one of the entry of most of the products because you're focusing more in the agribusiness. And sometimes some of these products are live avocados. We have onions. Right now, she's also doing pineapples and mangoes coming through. As you know, we are going to the season of mangoes, and also the value-added products. As you can see, some oils. We have sunflower oils come from Tanzania, coming here, and again back to the continent, because we don't focus on. We will not be focusing only on Europe. We're also focusing on our continent, because our main aim is the intra-trade. You want to see products that are going across each other country, eradicating poverty, and which is very, very important. So for us, in terms of that, it's already taken care of before even you bring any product in Europe. It has to go through the regulation. We have to use those ones that are already certified by the authorities here in Germany as well as in Europe. So that's something, is not even a discussion, is a mandatory. So it's something that you don't want to put yourself in your products or even your country into trouble. And the other thing, don't forget, in every product is also regulated in the country itself. In Kenya, we also have our own. And in Nigeria, in Cameroon, you all have the regulators of food that are already existing. And so these are the bodies that you start from first, even before even thinking of getting out of the country, even selling in the first place. They are already regulated in the country. So that's something that is very, very important. And for any person also wanting to venture into that, kindly follow the rules and the regulations and register yourself here in Germany. It's very easy to register yourself to start supporting businesses. And we're coming with a program. Once the program is out, we are ready to invite also the diaspora to come in and see how they can also learn how to sell products in here in Europe, because there is quite a lot of a different kind of language, a different kind of school that you need to understand how to approach buyers and to protect yourself as well. So I hope I've answered that question.
Yeah, I think so. I'm not sure if you touched on digital leverage.
Yes.
That was another part.
Yes, digital for me, that's my world. I cannot be here. I could not do what I do without digital. Digitalization is very important, and we are very happy. Okay, here I'm very advanced because we have electricity full time. I don't have any blackout, hopefully soon not, because we are having all these issues with electricity. But digitalization is the way to go. There is no way out, especially when it comes to trade. Trade is only eligible with even emailing. The digitalization is very, very important. It's something that I have thrived very well in. Africa women in Europe have exceeded 15 years only virtually. We only meet one time, once per year, or in different countries or in one country. And the same thing with the Africa women in trade. I've managed to work with all of them and also learning as well. I've learned about trade, going to conferences only through virtual. And that's so important. If event like this one being on virtual on a digital platform like Zoom, it is very important because it reaches many. It gets recorded on YouTube. And that's how we utilize it on our platform through webinars that are already recorded. We have a YouTube channel. Our members are never able to access it really, but whenever they can know where to go and get the last discussions we had on our YouTube channel. And the channel that they use are very basic. WhatsApp is a very important one for me. WhatsApp is the number one before emails because we communicate through WhatsApp, and things like Facebook. We underestimated for Facebook, people are selling products there and communicating each other. The only issue that we have in the continent, apart from a few that have managed to solve it, is like payment system. But now it's not an issue because we have seen PayPal is also there, if and credit card are already being used. These are all part of digitalization. And e-commerce. E-commerce is where we are selling products. We cannot be able to sell products if we are not having websites and the transactions that are going through. So digitalization is very, very important. It has played a very key role. Actually, since the formation of all my organizations, they are all held digitally, and we only meet very rarely, and that's the future. And as you heard from Sylvia, she mentioned in Africa they are very advanced in this session. So we are in the Europe have to catch up with them, especially the diaspora in Europe. We have to catch up with the Africa continent. It's amazing when you go there. I learn quite a lot when I go there, things that I would not get that easily here. And I also they learn from me and I learn from them. And that's something that we also have to do. I hope that will help a little bit.
Thank you. Thanks, Joy. Okay, there's one question. Okay, welcome, Samra.
Yeah. I'm really grateful and glad to hear, as I myself I'm a social entrepreneur back in Ethiopia. But I'll make it very short because there are lots of topics you touched into, which I really can go, but I think I'll just get to know about your work another time. For now, to keep it very short in regards of technology, not as a means of or as a medium of communication, but as a means of problem solving. Because we have a lot of products also regarding food, it could be regarding many other things, and we are having problems specifically for packaging and, like also for, could say for lots of things, so that women and girls learn to solve problems using technology because they know their problems. And as you know, right now, the import mechanisms is very, very difficult because of the shortage of dollar. So we really have to utilize our knowledge, technology, also our ancient and indigenous knowledges, integrating those in a very comprehensive way to solve specific problems. I can't go detail into the problems now. I mentioned one, for example, packaging. Also the We Do project, they know this very well, that there are lots of projects that could be sellable within the continent as well as to different parts of the world, but like it's often very difficult what to do with them because we're not using our knowledges to solve the specific problems from agriculture to you name it. So please, if you have any information regarding that, would be interesting. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Samra. Joy, I know you have to go. So if you could take that question and just one question online from an audience or online audiences are asking for your contact. So perhaps we could put in your website and perhaps there's a page to reach you. And one asks also, how can we ensure that we eradicate poverty in Africa and not export, say, food? And yet, some people are you know, in a food crisis and starving. So that, and then we can close. And thank you for your patience, Joy.
Yes, I have a few minutes to answer that. Yes, the question that was asked by the lady, they're very, very, and they are the key roles at the moment in the continent, especially when you're talking about the AFCFTA. But I can assure her there are solutions that are being prepared. They are slow, but they are active. And I have really been lucky to connect with a lot of information, what's going on the ground. I don't know whether you have heard about PAPS. I know the idea of the US dollar has really put the continent in a very bad position. Now the PAPS, PSS, payment system that is coming up, where we will be considering our own currency. We are counting the Kenya shillings with rands from South Africa without going to the US dollar. So check on that. PAPS is actually existing, I think almost going a year now, and right now they are onboarding the banks, and then once the banks are in, because you need the banks in the system, and then there will be payment system, we'll be able to go into the e-commerce solution for payment. So PAPS is something that is coming up, and solution. And logistic, as you said, is a very, very key role one, and it's something that it comes from the private sector, and that's why the diaspora, as a diaspora, these are business opportunity for you to think, how can you come with a logistic solution? I have been able to connect with also one gentleman who is also doing with freights, and we'll be doing a lot of logistics solution, especially for goods and services in the continent. I met them in the Africa for Iron meeting, and that's why the networks are there to go to all these events that are going on. You meet quite incredible people, and you can work with them to help the solution. So that is also coming up, but there are already cross-border trading happening. Cross-border trading is happening very practical and has been functioning. It's only the next level, which is always an issue for the cross-border. Packaging, yes, it's a big issue, but there are solutions. And as I always say, one of our pillars is information. Packaging, there. I was there on the other day invited by the COMESA. Unfortunately, the lady from the COMESA didn't manage to join here today. But in Tunisia, they have a huge packaging industry there. And Tunisia is halfway Africa, Europe. So although they think they're more in the Europe, but they are there and they are able to do solutions for packaging. Reach out to us because they are already in the continent. Of course, the logistic comes an issue because some of the issues with the logistic when it comes to packaging does come to Europe and then back to Africa. Even people traveling, Tunisia, some people had to fly to Italy to be able to go back to Tunisia. It's even for people movement, it's such an issue at the moment, but we are seeing progress. Things are coming up. There are 6 piloted countries that have 8 piloted countries that have been selected by the AFCFTA, and this is going to help us to move into really seeing the practical part of it. So probably more airlines that come. These are all business opportunity. Whenever you see a problem, is a solution, and that diaspora grab an investor from Germany and go make that solution back at home. That's my thinking and the way of doing things right now. There's problems, we know where they are. We can, as the diaspora, have the solution, and you don't need any permission from anyone, even from myself. You just need to go and do it like we do it ourselves. It's something that is incredible. Africa is ready for us to support. The question about the food, why are we exporting it in Europe and not in Africa? That's a very important question. We want to eradicate poverty. How are we going to eradicate if we are not feeding ourselves first? That's why the intra-trade comes first. And the low-hanging fruits right now, because as we have seen, the logistics are not happening. They're not yet there. That's why we're still encouraging the value-added products exportation to other countries, because value-added products, don't forget, someone has to prepare it. That's employment. And when you employ people, they have money to use to eradicate poverty. So we really need to change our way of mindset thinking. So long as we support value-added products that are processed in the continent, and new diaspora, you need to get those processing machines back in the continent so that we are able to do it there. And then we are able to bring, I showcase coffee, I showcase teas. They're already happening. These are diaspora who went back and are doing this kind of work. So it's up to us. Stop waiting for solution from the government. The government has done their job and they're still doing their work. But you diaspora, you can just go straight to your community and start doing the changes, and take an investor with you, because they will be happy. You'll be showing them the right way of investing, because most of them are really having a very hard time doing businesses in the continent and losing a lot of money because they don't get the right connections. So diaspora, it's your role to get those solutions done. I am doing my part to create an environment and that both of you can know what is coming and what you can start with, and sharing you a lot of information. And I'm very happy to have been here as well to share as much information. That's where I thrive most, sharing what I know, and what you know you share with the other people. Sharing is the most important thing of information, because the solutions are there, and if they're not there, we are going to create them. So thank you so much for having me here, and I'll be listening in, and I will be following up also the conversation and answer the questions on the chat as well, as I've seen on the chat, and I'll share my contact as well on the chat. Thank you. Otherwise, the is Africa Women in Europe.eu. That's to be a member is free, and AfricaWomeninTrade.com is a way to register as a business. You have to be in business or wanting to go into the business direction. There is a membership fee there as well. And email is as I said, AfricaWomeninTrade@gmail.com. Thank you so much.